Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Monday, February 24th, 2025. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with an update on Janel Grant's lawsuit against Vince McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis. McMahon's legal team has filed a response to Grant's amended lawsuit in the United States District Court of Connecticut in opposition to her request to amend her complaint. McMahon's team is arguing that Grant's amendments have a lack of legal basis and were delayed an unjustifiable amount of time. They are also arguing that Grant's claims about the sexual abuse case timeline were misleading. The team is also claiming that Grant intentionally withheld some claims in her original lawsuit filing in order to attract attention from the media, and that there is no legal basis for Grant's request that the case not be moved to arbitration instead of just going to court. Laurinaitis submitted a response which also supports McMahon's position. The response of Laurinaitis as well as the response of WWE also both argue in favor of moving to arbitration rather than to court. It remains for the court to decide if Grant's amendments will be accepted and whether the case will move to trial or to arbitration. In more legal news, TNA's Ryan Nemeth has filed a lawsuit against AEW, Tony Khan, and CM Punk stemming from Nemeth's time wrestling for AEW from 2021 to 2023. The lawsuit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court includes claims of physical assault by Punk, breach of contract, violation of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and intentional interference with prospective advantage. Nemeth is seeking compensatory and punitive damages. Progress Wrestling held their Progress 177 My Own Destiny event yesterday from the Electric Ballroom in London and streamed on Triller TV. In the main event, Luke Jacobs retained the Progress World title in a no disqualification match over Tate Mayfairs. In other title matches, Smokin' Aces retained the Progress Tag Team title over Eagle Blanc and Kuro, and Simon Miller retained the Progress Proteus title over Will Cruz. Rain Leverkusen won a four-way match to become the number one contender to the Progress Women's title, but then lost in 38 seconds to Women's Champion Nina Samuels. In other results, Mako Satomura beat Rio, Man Like Doris down Miles Kamen, Chuck Mambo and TK Cooper defeated Axel Tischer and Big Damo, and Nico Angelo topped Kid Lycos. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.